Daniel was 27 years old. He lived in a small one-bedroom apartment in Atlanta, Georgia. It wasn't much, just a narrow bed, a tiny kitchen, and a second-hand couch. But it was his space. Quiet, clean, simple. He worked at a local supermarket called Green Mart. Every morning, he walked 20 minutes to the store, wearing his brown work uniform with his name tag clipped to his chest. He was the tech guy in the store, even though his title was stock manager. Whenever a machine broke or the computers crashed, people called Daniel. "Daniel, the card machine's frozen again." "Daniel, how do I email this report?" Daniel always fixed it. He was smart with computers, quiet, patient, and always willing to help. Customers liked him. His coworkers liked him too, but they all had their own lives, family, kids, relationships. Daniel didn't have that. He lived alone. He ate alone. He didn't even own a pet. His evenings were always the same. Warm noodles, a glass of water, and his phone. He scrolled through Facebook and watched videos. Sometimes he laughed at funny memes. Sometimes he watched motivational talks. But most nights he stared at happy couples online and wondered if he'd ever have that. He had tried dating apps before, but people never matched with him. Or if they did, they ghosted him after a few messages. He once went on a date with a girl from church, but she said he was too serious. Daniel began to believe love just wasn't for people like him. But one night, that changed. It was just past midnight. Daniel had eaten his usual noodles and was lying on his bed with his phone when a new message popped up on Messenger. "Hey, I saw your photo on a friend's post. You have kind eyes." He blinked. Was this spam? He opened the profile. Her name was Ava Grace. Her profile picture showed a young woman with soft brown hair, big bright blue eyes, and a smile that looked like sunshine. She wore a cozy gray sweater and held a cup of coffee. She looked real, friendly, beautiful. Her profile had dozens of posts, selfies at the beach, videos of sunsets, photos of her dog named Benny. She had over 400 friends and she posted about photography and travel. Daniel stared for a while. Then he replied, "Thank you. That's very kind of you." Within seconds, she replied, "I like kind people. The world is full of fake ones. It's nice to see someone real." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. Was this really happening? They started chatting. Ava said she lived in Los Angeles and worked as a freelance photographer. She traveled a lot for work, taking photos for weddings and fashion shoots. She asked about Daniel's job, his favorite food, his favorite childhood memory. She seemed genuinely curious. She said she liked men who listened, who weren't loud or aggressive. "Quiet guys are rare. I like that you're different," she typed. Daniel smiled. No one had ever said that to him before. They talked until 2 a.m. He went to bed with a strange feeling in his chest, something warm and exciting. Expert insight, the hook doctor. Felicia Ray, a psychologist who studies online scams, says, "Scammers know how to mirror emotions. They pretend to see the person deeply. That first compliment, it's calculated. It gives hope, and hope is powerful." The next morning, Daniel was still thinking about Ava. At work, he checked his phone every chance he got. There was a new message. "Good morning, sleepyhead. Dream of me?" He laughed quietly. No one had ever flirted with him before. From that day on, Ava messaged him every morning, every night. She sent good morning quotes. She asked about his lunch. She sent selfies of her dog sitting on her laptop. It all felt so real, so normal. She even sent a short voice message one night. "Hey, Daniel, I just wanted to hear your voice, but I'm shy. I'll try calling soon. Hope you're having a sweet dream." Her voice was gentle, kind, and warm. Daniel listened to it 3 times. He didn't know it yet, but that message was the first drop in a storm. Daniel couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, someone made him feel important, wanted, seen. Every night after work, he rushed home to see if Ava had messaged him. She always had. Sometimes it was a funny photo, sometimes a long paragraph about her day, and sometimes a voice note. Hey, babe, I just got back from a shoot in Santa Monica. My feet are killing me, but thinking about you makes me feel better. Her voice had a soft rhythm, like a song. Her laughter made Daniel chuckle aloud, even when he was alone in the room. He played each voice note multiple times. Sometimes he'd close his eyes and imagine her beside him. They hadn't spoken live yet. She always had an excuse. My phone camera is broken. I'm in a hotel with bad Wi-Fi. My battery is dying. I hate how I look right now. Daniel didn't mind. He was just happy she kept talking to him. One night, as Daniel sat on the balcony with his phone, Ava sent a voice message that changed everything. I don't say this easily, but you make me feel safe. I haven't trusted anyone in a long time, not since my parents died. Daniel's eyes widened. He sat up straighter. You're the only person I talk to every day, the only one I want to talk to. It's weird, right? You're 1,000 miles away, and yet I feel like I've known you forever. Daniel held the phone against his chest. His heart beat fast. She had said the word he longed to hear, trust. Expert insight, emotional bonding. Scammers build a fake emotional bond quickly. They act vulnerable so the victim opens up too. This is called emotional reciprocity. When someone says, I trust you, our brain feels responsible to protect that bond, even when something feels off. The next few days were like a dream. Ava called Daniel babe, sweetheart, and once my angel. She asked if he believed in soulmates. She said she felt like they had met in another life. Daniel had never even held a girl's hand, but now someone beautiful, charming, and full of mystery was whispering to him every night. They started talking about the future. Ava said she dreamed of visiting Atlanta and walking with him through Piedmont Park. She said she wanted to try his famous peach cobbler. She even joked about getting a dog together. Can you imagine us, babe, waking up next to each other, drinking coffee and watching cartoons with Benny on the couch? Daniel laughed and typed back, I've never imagined that with anyone before, but with you, yes, every day. The next day, Ava said something unexpected. Can I tell you something? Promise you won't think I'm crazy? Daniel replied, promise. There was a pause. Then a voice note arrived. Sometimes, I wish I could just stop everything, all the traveling, all the noise. I want a quiet life, a man who listens, who holds me when I cry, someone like you. Then softly, I think I'm falling for you. Daniel's hand trembled as he typed, I think I'm falling for you too. And just like that, he was in. 2 weeks passed and Daniel was no longer the same. He smiled more. He walked lighter. At work, he even joked with coworkers. Lisa, the cashier, noticed. You look happy, she said one morning. Daniel blushed. Yeah, I met someone. Lisa raised her eyebrows. A real person or one of those long-distance internet girls? Daniel laughed nervously. She's real. That night, Ava sent him a surprise, a video. In it, she stood by a large window in a hotel room. The sun was setting behind her. She smiled at the camera. Hey, baby, I miss your voice today. Here's a little sunset for you. Wish you were here. Daniel watched it 3 times. She was wearing the same hoodie from her profile picture. She looked a little blurry, like it was recorded on a low-quality phone. But he didn't care. She was beautiful, natural. He replied, I wish I was there too. That weekend, they had their first virtual date. Ava told him to dress nicely and cook something. Daniel wore his best shirt and made spaghetti. They ate together while video chatting, but only audio on her side. She said her camera wasn't working again. Just imagine me, she teased. I'm in my pink dress, hair down, smiling at you. Daniel smiled back at his blank screen. He could almost see it. They played music, They talked for hours. It felt real. Later that night, she messaged, "If I came to visit, would you take me to the zoo?" "I'd take you anywhere," Daniel replied. "Even the moon?" she said, adding a heart emoji. He typed, "Especially the moon." Expert insight. Digital fantasy love scams work by creating a fantasy. The scammer becomes who you want them to be. They send just enough real content, voice notes, blurry videos, specific compliments to build presence, but not enough to fully confirm their identity. The victim fills in the rest with imagination. Daniel started calling her his girlfriend. When he saw couples holding hands on the street, he no longer felt jealous, because he had someone too. He even changed his phone wallpaper to Ava's smiling face. But he didn't know. The woman in the photo was not the woman he was talking to. She was an image, borrowed from someone else's Instagram. 3 days later, Daniel received a long voice note from Ava. She sounded upset. "Baby, I'm so stressed. I had a big shoot today, and my camera fell. It's completely broken, and now I can't finish my contract. If I don't send in the photos, I don't get paid. I feel sick." Daniel's stomach tightened. "Are you okay?" he replied. She said she was okay physically, but her career was in danger. She needed a new camera, at least a used one. But she couldn't afford one until her next job, and she didn't want to borrow money from her aunt again. "It's just $300. I hate asking." "I'll pay you back in a few days." I promised Daniel had $500 in his savings. It was all he had. He was saving for a new laptop. But in that moment, Ava's voice broke his logic. She sounded sad, hurt, desperate. He paused and then typed, "Send me the details." 10 minutes later, he sent the money. She replied with a photo of her holding a coffee cup and smiling, with a small thank you note on the table beside her. "You saved me. I love you." Daniel felt proud, important. Expert insight. The first ask scammers test limits with a small request. It seems like an honest emergency. Once a person sends money, they're more likely to keep sending. It becomes harder to admit they may have been fooled. This is called sunk cost fallacy. Daniel didn't tell anyone, not Lisa, not his brother, not even himself, really. He just told his heart, she needed me. A week later, Ava said she had great news. "I'm coming to Atlanta next month. I booked a flight." Daniel nearly dropped his phone. They stayed up late planning everything. Her arrival time, the food she wanted to try, the movies they'd watch. She even asked what kind of pajamas she should pack. Daniel cleaned his entire apartment. He bought new bed sheets. He Googled how to cook for your girlfriend. Each morning he looked at the calendar and smiled. She was coming in 12 days. But the day before her flight, she messaged in tears, "Baby, my aunt fell. She broke her leg. I can't leave her like this. I'm all she has." Daniel's chest sank. She sent him a blurry photo, a hospital hallway. "I hate this. I wanted to be with you so bad. Can you forgive me?" Daniel replied, "Of course, I understand." But that night he sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the candles he had bought for her welcome dinner. For the first time, he felt a tiny pain in his chest. Expert insight. Delay tactics. Scammers avoid face-to-face meetings using guilt-based excuses. Illness, accidents, and emergencies are common. These situations build sympathy while delaying the risk of exposure. He told Lisa the visit was canceled. She frowned. "Isn't that the second excuse she's given you?" Daniel nodded slowly. "She's just going through a lot." Lisa stared at him. "So are you." Ava didn't visit, but her messages kept coming. In fact, after the hospital excuse, she messaged even more often, almost like she was trying to make up for missing the trip. Daniel didn't realize it then, but this was part of the pattern. I miss you every second. You're the only reason I smile lately. Do you think about me when you go to sleep? Daniel always answered yes, because he did, more than he wanted to admit. She called him my forever and started using phrases like our future and when we're married. Once she sent a voice note late at night. I used to believe I was too broken to be loved. But then you came. You fixed me, Daniel. Daniel sat on the edge of his bed, holding his phone like it was her hand. No one had ever said those words to him before. Ava asked more questions about his life. What do you want most in the world? If I got really sick, would you take care of me? What kind of house would we live in? She made him paint pictures of a life they'd never live, a dream he didn't know he was buying. Daniel found himself changing. He shaved more often. He started jogging. He bought a shirt Ava had once said she liked on another man's photo. At work, Lisa watched all this from a distance. You're glowing, she said. He smiled. I think I'm in love. One Friday night, Ava messaged him something unexpected. I want to surprise you. I'm planning another trip. Daniel froze. Could this be real? Are you sure? He asked. Yes, I'll come next month. No excuses this time. She sent him a screenshot of a plane ticket. Atlanta, March 20th. Daniel's chest filled with joy. He jumped up and down in his apartment, laughing. He took a screenshot and saved it to his favorites. He told Lisa. She was quiet. Let me know when she lands, she said simply. But a week before the flight, Ava sent another message. Bad news, my camera gear was stolen. My passport too. She said she was robbed while returning from a shoot in Miami. Everything was gone. Equipment, ID, even her wallet. I hate this world sometimes, she cried in a voice note. Now I have to pay for a new passport and report everything, and I can't afford it. Daniel asked how much. About $800, she replied. I feel so ashamed asking. Please don't hate me. He sat there staring at her words. He had already sent her $300, then $200 more. He was still paying off the loan for that second transfer. His chest hurt, but his heart whispered, she would do it for you. So he said, I'll help. He sent the money, and for the rest of the day he waited for a thank you. It came late, just one emoji, hard eyes and brain expert insight, the slow drain. Scammers don't rush to empty your wallet. They build a fake relationship first. Then they make small asks, each tied to emotion. Sickness, theft, illness, broken promises. Victims often know something feels off, but by now, they feel too deep to walk away. Daniel began to avoid his bank app. He didn't want to see how much money was gone. Lisa noticed. One day at lunch, she sat next to him and asked gently, has she paid you back anything? Daniel looked down at his sandwich. No. She says she will. She's just waiting for payment from a client. Lisa gave him a look. The kind of look people give you when they want to speak but don't want to hurt you. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure, Daniel replied. Have you ever spoken to her live? Seen her face on a normal video call? Daniel hesitated. Not really, her Wi-Fi's always bad, but she sends videos. Do those videos ever say your name? He paused. No. Silence. Lisa leaned closer. I'm just worried, Dan. That's all. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Lisa's words spun around his head. Do those videos ever say your name? Have you ever seen her face live? He scrolled through all the messages, looking for a voice note that said Daniel. There were none, just baby, love, sweetheart. He suddenly noticed that many of the videos were similar angles. Her standing by a window, sitting in a car, drinking coffee, all alone, all generic. Was she recycling them? Daniel shook his head. Number. She's real, she's just busy. But the seed of doubt had been planted. 3 days later, Ava messaged in panic. I'm being sued. My client says I didn't deliver the project, but I did. I just didn't get to send it because of the robbery. She said she needed a lawyer. She sent a screenshot of a legal letter with her name. If I don't pay a retainer fee, $1,500, they'll freeze my account. Daniel gasped. I'm already in debt, he wrote. I know. I'm sorry. Please just loan me one last time. I'll pay you back. I swear on my mother's grave. Daniel stared at the screen. This was too much. But her next message broke him. If you can't help, I understand. Maybe this was never real to you. He felt a sharp stab in his chest. How could she doubt him? After everything. He didn't want to lose her, so he said, okay, I'll borrow more. And he did. He took out another loan from an app, a high-interest one that would follow him for months. That night he couldn't sleep, not because of love, but because of the fear that maybe, just maybe, it was all a lie. Daniel stopped talking at work. He no longer smiled. He turned off his phone for long periods just to breathe. Every time it buzzed, his heart raced. Part of him hoping it was Ava saying, I got the money, here's proof. Instead, the messages were softer, shorter, less frequent. Hey babe, sorry, busy. Not feeling great today. Talk later. I'm tired. Daniel started noticing delays. She used to reply in seconds. Now it took hours. And then, one day, she didn't reply at all. He waited. 1 hour, then 5, then 12. He messaged her. Are you okay? Please respond. I'm worried. Nothing. The next morning, her profile was gone. Blocked, deleted. He tried her number. This number is no longer in service. Daniel's hands began to shake. His chest tightened. Number no. He opened his bank app. The money was gone. So was she. He stared at the screen. Alone, lost, and completely broken. Daniel didn't go to work the next day. He lay in bed with the curtains closed, his phone beside him on silent. He stared at the wall. His chest felt heavy, like someone had dropped a rock on it. Every now and then, he unlocked his phone. No messages, no avenue. His apartment felt like a cave. The quiet was so loud it hurt. She's gone, he whispered. He checked her profile again. Gone. He called the number again. Disconnected. Daniel let out a shaky breath. Then he cried. 3 days passed. Daniel didn't shower. He barely ate. He stared at the walls, listening to the sound of cars outside his window. His loan app sent reminders. Bills piled up on the kitchen table. His rent was overdue. But none of it felt real anymore. Only the pain. The heartbreak wasn't just about money. It was about being lied to. How could I be so stupid, he kept whispering. He wanted to scream, but he was too tired. On the 4th day, an email arrived from an unknown address. Subject, you're not alone. Daniel almost deleted it, but something told him to read it. Hi, I saw your name on a scam recovery forum. I think you've been scammed by someone named Rachel. She uses the name Ava Grace. She scammed me too. Attached were photos, screenshots of chats, voice notes, even the same selfie Daniel had saved. The same woman, different name, different victim. Daniel felt like vomiting. It was real. Everything had been fake. Daniel went online and searched Ava Grace scam. He found forum after forum, stories just like his, men and women, all scammed by the same face. Some lost money, some lost jobs. One person said their spouse left them because of it. He wasn't the only one. But he still felt small, used, foolish, and hurt. So deeply hurt. Daniel called Lisa. She picked up on the first ring. He didn't say hello. He just cried. Lisa drove over that evening. She found him sitting on the floor beside an open window. She sat beside him and didn't speak. After a long silence, he said, "She wasn't real." Lisa held his hand. You're real. That's what matters. Daniel wiped his tears. I feel like I don't deserve to be loved anymore. Lisa looked him straight in the eye. You do. You just gave it to the wrong person. Lisa helped Daniel find an online support group for scam victims. At first, he just listened. People shared their stories. Stories that sounded like his. Smart people. Teachers, engineers, nurses. Even a retired military officer. They all said the same thing. I thought I was too smart for this. I just wanted someone to love me. I didn't want to believe it was fake. One day, Daniel typed a message in the chat. My name is Daniel. I lost $5,000 in my sense of self, but I'm trying to heal. Dozens of hearts flooded his screen. A journalist reached out to Daniel after seeing one of his posts. Would you be willing to share your story publicly? Daniel paused. The shame was still fresh. But he said yes. The article was titled, Smart, Lonely, and Scammed, One Man's Wake-Up Call. It went viral. Strangers wrote to him, Thank you for your courage. You helped me realize I was being tricked too. You gave me strength. Daniel cried as he read the comments. His pain had a purpose now. A university invited Daniel to speak at a conference. He stood on stage looking out at a sea of students. He took a deep breath and said, I'm not here because I'm dumb. I'm here because I'm human, and so are you. He told them about Ava, about the voice notes, the dreams, the lies, about how hope can sometimes blind you, but also how truth can save you. When he finished, the room gave him a standing ovation. Daniel smiled. At a seminar in Chicago, Daniel met Maya. She was soft-spoken, thoughtful, and funny. They sat beside each other during lunch. She said she had been scammed, too, by a man named Ethan who promised to marry her. I lost $2,000, and she said, but I lost more than that. I lost my trust. Daniel nodded. Me too. They exchanged numbers. No flirting, just honesty. Daniel and Maya started talking often. They didn't rush anything. They sent real photos. They had video calls. They laughed about their awkward moments. They shared stories about how they were fooled and how they survived. Daniel didn't feel excited like with Ava. He felt safe, and that was better. Daniel started a YouTube channel. Number Real Not Fake. His first video was called, I Thought She Loved Me, She Didn't. He spoke slowly, clearly, honestly. It got 10,000 views in 2 days, then 100,000, then 1 million. People emailed him from everywhere. I was about to send $400, then I found your video. You saved my dad. You helped me forgive myself. Daniel, Maya, and Lisa started a small nonprofit. They hosted free workshops at colleges, churches, and community centers. They created a helpline for scam victims. They worked with police and banks to report scam patterns. Their slogan was simple, Real love doesn't ask for money. Months later, a global investigation led to a big arrest. Interpol and the FBI shut down the scam group Ava had worked with. It was based in Nigeria. Over 30 people were caught, including Rachel, the real face behind Ava. Daniel saw her mugshot on the news. He stared at it for a long time. Then he turned off the TV. He was done chasing ghosts. Daniel stood in front of a group of high school boys. They were laughing and playing, not really listening. So he held up his phone and played one of Ava's old voice notes. The room went silent. Then he said, I thought this voice loved me, but she didn't even know my name. The boys stared, wide-eyed. Daniel smiled gently. Wanting love isn't stupid. Believing lies is human. But protecting your heart, that's wisdom. Daniel walked outside that night and looked up at the stars. He took a deep breath and whispered, I forgive you, Ava, or Rachel, or whoever you were. Then he smiled, not because of her, but because of himself, because he survived, because he healed, and because now he was helping others too. Final expert commentary. Why do smart people still fall for online love scams? Because they want to be seen. Because loneliness doesn't ask for your IQ. Because scammers don't need your brain, only your heart. But when truth arrives, healing begins, and the story becomes a light for someone else.